friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this super cute pair of woven fingerless gloves. This crochet tutorial creates a really cute woven texture. We're going to have a nice ribbed stitch for the cuff as well as the top finger, and it's got a really wide finger hole for your thumb, so there's lots of free movement available. If you're interested in learning how to make this crochet woven fingerless glove set, keep watching. For this project, you're going to need some yarn. I'm going to be using this number 3 weight wool. I've got 2 custom dyed balls here, one in pink and one in a brown sort of tan and green and pink mix. This is the total you're going to need for one glove, so you'll need twice this much to make 2. You're also going to need crochet hooks today. I'm going to be using 2 different sizes, 4mm and 4.5mm. You could definitely get away with just using one or the other, but I'm going to do the woven texture in the 4mm and then the cuffs in the 4.5. You'll also need some scissors, as well as a yarn needle to weave in your ends. So gather your supplies, and let's jump in. We're going to start with the brown yarn and the 4.5mm hook. First, we're going to create a slip knot. From here, chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 19, and 20. Now, in the 4th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to do a double crochet. Then double crochet across the first row. At the end of this row, you should have 18 stitches in your row. Here I am at the end of the first row. I'm just putting my last stitch in. So we did 17 double crochets, and then the chain 2 at the end of the row will be our 18th. Isn't that yarn so pretty? For row number 2, we're gonna start with a chain of 2. 1 and 2. And then turn the work. Now at this point, we're going to begin with our front post, back post, double crochet woven stitch. The first stitch of the row is going to be a front post. So yarn over, insert the hook behind the entire post of the double crochet stitch, yarn over again and pull up a loop. We've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through the remaining 2 loops. That's a front post double crochet. The next stitch, we're going to do another front post double crochet. So yarn over, insert behind the entire post, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we've got 2 front post double crochets. The next 2 stitches, we're going to do back post. So yarn over, insert behind the entire work, pulling the post back, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. See how that pulls the whole post back? And this pulls the whole post to the front. The next stitch, we're gonna do another back post double crochet. And then in the following 2 stitches, we're going to do 2 front post double crochets. After that, we're going to do another 2 back post double crochets. We're gonna continue this all the way across for this second row in the same repeat. 2 front post double crochets, 2 back post double crochets, 2 front post, 2 back post. I'm going to just zoom through the rest of this row, and I will see you at the end of row number 2 to show you what we're going to do to finish the row off and then to move in to row number 3. Here I am at the end of the row. I've just done 2 front posts, then I have 2 back posts to finish off the row. There's 1 and there's 2. And now to make the row have the same straight edge that we're ending with on the first row, you can see there's still a stitch left here. We're going to put our final stitch in the space between these 2 posts. So we've got our chain 2 and that post. That last post was a back post, and now we're going to put a double crochet through that chain stitch. Just a regular double crochet for the last stitch of the row. And then we'll chain 2, 1 and 2, and turn. And now you can see that initial rib stitch that we're getting by doing the front posts and the back posts. See? Now for row number 3, we're going to be doing the reverse of what we did for row number 2. So these 2 front posts here, we're not going to continue with front posts, which would look like that. We're going to do 2 back posts to start the row. So yarn over, insert behind the work, and up over the post and pull it back, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2, pulling that front post to become a back post. And then same thing for the second stitch, back post double crochet. And then for the next 2 stitches, we're going to do a front post double crochet. So there is 1 front post double crochet and 2. And then in the next 2 stitches, we will do 2 more back post double crochets. And then in the stitches after that, 2 front post double crochets. And then in the next, 2 back post and then 2 front post. I'm going to zoom through the rest of this because it's the same stitches again, and I'll see you at the end of the row to show you how we'll finish off row number 3 and move into row number 4. Here I am at the end of a row number 3. I'm just putting my last 2 front post double crochets in. There's 1, and here is number 2. And now we've got that same thing again from last row. We have a chain 2 space here, and we're going to put the last double crochet of the row into that chain 2 space to keep our edge nice and straight and to keep it even so that we have this one straight edge and then our front post, back post. Now to begin row number 4, we're going to start with a chain 2 and turn. At this point, you can start to see that woven texture. We've got front post, and then you can see the back posts, sort of creating that texture of a woven stitch. Now for row number 4, we're going to start with front post double crochets. So we're gonna do 2 front post double crochets, 1 in each of the first 2 stitches. There's 1, and here is number 2. And then the next 2 stitches, we're gonna do back post double crochets. And we're gonna repeat the pattern all the way across for row number 4. If you've noticed, row number 4 is the exact same as row number 2. From this point on, it's a 2-row repeat. Row number 2 and 3 are the 2 rows that we'll just be repeating all the way up to the end of our first rectangle. Now, from row number 4 all the way up to row number 23, we're going to just continue with this repeat. You want to make this rectangle long enough to reach all the way around your hand, meeting at the thumb. So if you're making it for someone with larger hands, just measure around their hand, not around their wrist, a little higher than that, around the thumb area. And you want to measure that space. For me, that ends up being about 23 rows of this stitch. But you can go farther if you need this to be a little bit larger. I would say this is about a lady's medium, but will fit anywhere from a small to a large, just because there is quite a bit of stretch in this stitch. So I'm going to zoom through the rest of this first rectangle, and I will meet you at the end of row number 23. By the way, if you're liking this video so far, don't forget to click the like button. It really helps the channel grow, and I would really appreciate if you could take a second and click the like button. Thank you! Alright, so here I am at the end of row number 23. I divided my initial ball incorrectly, so I ended up running out of yarn, which is why I've got a little bit of this yellow gold going on here. So let's just pretend that that's not the case. But here I am at the end of row number 23. I'm gonna put my last 2 back post double crochets in, and then to finish off the row, I'll do 1 more double crochet in the corner. And now that is it for the first rectangle. Now we're going to be switching into the pink yarn and getting into the actual assembly portion of the glove. All right, so for this next part, I am going to trim the yarn. And at this point, the rectangle is about 7 inches across. And for me, what that looks like is my hand folded on it. It can reach across to connect at the top finger. It's a little bit tight for the bottom still, but that's okay. It fits across the top finger. So now that my yarn is trimmed, we're switching to the pink yarn, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a chain of 2. First, I'll do a chain of 1 with both yarns, the yellow and the pink. Then I'll drop the tails and I'll do my second chain in just the pink. Now for this next part, I'm going to do 1, oh, I forgot. We're also gonna switch hooks at this point. My mistake. I'm switching into the 4.5mm hook. And now at this point, I'm going to double crochet 1 time in each space of each first stitch of the row. So in the big space at the first stitch of the row, I'm gonna put 1 double crochet. So 1 right there, then 1 right here. And you can just sort of stretch the work out until you see the large space. and that's where you're gonna put your double crochets. One there, and there. And I'm gonna do that all the way across the work. Just one stitch in each first stitch across. Also, at this point, I am double crocheting over my tails so that I don't have to weave anything in at the end. All right, I've made it to the end of the row. You should have 22 double crochets and then the chain one you started the round with, or the row with, sorry, for a total of 23. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold that work and we're going to join this round. So I'm gonna do that just by putting a slip stitch into this chain 2 we started the row with. Gonna slip stitch right in there and then yarn over, pull through, and that joins our round up. And from here we're gonna do a chain 2, chain 1, chain 2. Now we're working in the round. So we're going to do a rib stitch. That includes a front post double crochet for your first stitch, and then a back post double crochet for your second stitch. And then a front post, and then a back post. And we're gonna repeat that all the way around until we get back to the beginning of the round. And this is the top of the fingerless glove. So this is gonna be like where your fingers actually come out of, not the bottom cuff. So just make your way around for this second round of double crochets. We're doing front post, back post, and I'll meet you at the end of the round to show you how we're gonna join it up. By the way, if you're making your fingerless glove bigger than mine, just make sure you end up with an odd number of rows, because by having an odd number of rows, you're going to end up with a perfect rib stitch around the cuff and around the fingers. And I'll show you what I mean when I get to the end of this row. Here I am at the end of the round. So my last stitch of the round is going to be a front post double crochet. And then when we join the round, we're doing a back post double crochet by doing a slip stitch. So when I slip stitch the round together, it creates what looks like a back post double crochet. So for the third round, we're gonna start with a chain 2, and then we're going to do front post double crochet, back post double crochet all the way around again. And you'll see when you join the round with a slip stitch, it pulls the stitch back. So if you keep your rows an odd number, you're gonna end up joining your round at the point that you would have a back post double crochet if you were to keep going. So you always wanna be finishing the round with a front post double crochet and then doing a slip stitch, and then you'll end up with what appears to be a front post double crochet, back post double crochet, which allows your ribbed stitch to maintain this continuous look with it. So if you're making yours bigger, just keep it at an odd number. So right now I'm on round number 3 for the top of the fingers. You want to keep going until you have 4 rounds. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom through round number 3 and round number 4, and I will meet you when I'm done round number 4 to show you what it's looking like. And you can decide to go ahead and go a little farther if your hands are longer, if you want to cover more of your fingers. But for me, 4 rounds is just perfect for this part of the fingerless glove. So I'll see you at the end of round number 4. All right, I finished my 4 rows, and now I am just weaving my end in so that I don't have anything to worry about at the end of the project. Once I've got that all woven in how I like, I'll just trim my yarn, and then it'll be time to get started on the thumb. All right, so to add a little bit more width at the bottom of where the cuff is gonna go, because this is how our little mitt is gonna go on, we wanna add a little bit more width here and also create a little bit more of a finished edge for our thumb hole. To do that, we're going to be using the 4mm hook again, and I am going to pick up the first stitch on my hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Then I'll drop the tail and chain 2. 1 and 2. Just like that. So after our chain 2, we're gonna go ahead and put 1 double crochet in each of the stitches until we reach the point where our meat is, where our little seam joins together for our round for the top of the fingers for our fingerless glove. So I'm just going to double crochet one time in each stitch until I meet that apex, and I will meet you there to show you what we're going to do in that section. All right, I'm just about at the join now. I'm gonna put my last double crochet into the side of the fingerless glove, and now we are at the area where we actually did our front post, back post. So I'm gonna put one double crochet here, and then I'm gonna put one double crochet here. And that's gonna create the join, or it's going to sort of connect the join. And that's just going to skip over the seam, skip over where we actually did our join, and just move right into the next stitch. And that will scooch itself together, so don't worry about that. And now we're gonna continue working down the other side, one double crochet in each stitch all the way down. All right, here I am at the end of that row. I'm just gonna put my last couple of double crochets in. And then once we are finished with our double crochets, we're gonna do another row. We're gonna go across again, that exact same row, but we're going to do single crochets this time. So I'm gonna chain one and turn. And now for this next row, I'm gonna put one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. This time we don't really need to worry about that apex, that center point. We can just single crochet across this long row. I'll meet you when I get to the end of this thumb row. Here I am at the last stitch for that single crochet row for the thumb. I'm gonna chain one and turn. And now we're going to do one more row. We did a double crochet, a single crochet, and now for our last row, we're gonna do slip stitches. This is gonna create a nice edge for the thumb area so that it has a nice finished edge. And we're just gonna do one slip stitch in each of those single crochets across. I'm gonna meet you at the end of that row, and then we're going to be joining up the cuff, and we're going to be making the cuff portion of the fingerless glove. So we are coming in on the home stretch, people. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna zoom through it, and I'll see you at the end of this row. Here I am at the end of that slip stitch row. You can see it added a nice little braid detail along the edge of that thumb. So at this point, the little fingerless glove has a nice snug area around the fingers. And then around the hand portion, we've got that woven texture, and then we've got that thumb border. Now we're going to be working the cuff, which we've added about an inch total to the width of the glove so that we've got a little bit more space around the wrist. A little snug around the fingers and a little bit looser around the cuff. Cute! Now let's get into that cuff. We're still working with the 4.5mm hook at this point. Now, we've made it to the edge of the row. We're going to do a chain of two. 1 and 2. Then we're gonna turn the work 90 degrees, and into the same stitch that we just came out of with that chain 2, we're going to do a double crochet. Now, we're gonna do another double crochet in the next space available, which is gonna be this hole right here. Now, from this point on, we're going to do one double crochet in each double crochet row all the way down. So we've got a space for a double crochet right here. Then the next double crochet row will be right here. If you just stretch out the work, it's a little bit more obvious where those double crochet rows are. So we've just put one here. We have room for one right here as well. And I'm going to just do that all the way around until I get back to the beginning, or rather to the end of the row. And then I'll show you how we're gonna join it to create a round for the cuff section. All right, I'm just about at the end of my row here. I'm gonna put my last couple of double crochets in. There's one, and then I'm gonna put one into the spot of the single crochet, and then my last one is going into the slip stitch row. This is gonna be a little bit snug, but just fiddle around until you can get your double crochet into that slip stitch. And there we go. And now at this point, we're going to join the round. So we're gonna fold the work over, and that chain 2 that we started our round off with, that is going to be where we slip stitch into. So I'm just gonna pull it apart so that I can see that space. I'm gonna insert the hook into there, yarn over, and then pull through all the loops. And now we've joined that round. From here, we can chain 2. Now we're gonna be doing the front post double crochet, back post double double crochet repeat again. So front post in the first stitch, back post double crochet in the second stitch, front post double crochet in the third, back post in the fourth. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. The slip stitch at the end of the round is going to look like a back post double crochet again. So you're going to want to finish your round with a front post double crochet. And now I'm just going to zoom through the rest of this round because it's the exact same thing, and I'll show you what I'm going to do to join the round at the end. Here I am at the end of the round. I just put my last front post in, and now to join the round, I'm going to slip stitch through that chain 2. And now you can see we have a front post, and then the slip stitch looks like a back post, and then we start again with a front post. So our chain 2 is basically our back post, and now we're going to start this next round with a front post double crochet. And we're going to do this for a total of 6 rounds. So we've done 1, 2, we're on our 3rd round. We're going to go for a total of 6 rounds with this front post, back post double crochet repeat to create a nice chunky cuff for our fingerless gloves. And I'm going to zoom through this part because it's a repeat of the exact same thing, and I will see you when I get to the end of round number 6. All right, here I am at the end of my 6th row. I'm just going to slip stitch the round together. Then I'll do one final chain 1 and pull it through. And now I'm going to weave in my end. And we are just about done this project, so buckle up. We are going to add a button, I've decided, around the cuff because I think it will be cute. And I will show you how we're going to do that. So I'm just going to quickly weave this in and I will be right back. So this is my plan. We're going to create a little strap that will connect at the wrist, and then we're going to add a button on the top center of the hand warmer, and we can close this up to create a little bit more of a snug fit for the thumb section, as well as incorporate a little bit of the yellow yarn on the other hand so that it looks a little bit more, you know, there's a little bit more continuity between both. So on the second hand, I will show you how we're going to do that. So working with the cuff of the wrist pointed down and the finger pointed up, we're gonna turn it 90 degrees. So now we've got the cuff on the left side, the fingers on the right side. And I am going to connect my yarn. I'm looking at these woven sections here. There's 2 woven sections here and then 2 stitches here. In this second row, second set of stitches right here, I'm gonna connect my yellow yarn. I hope that makes sense. I'm going back in with the 4mm hook, and I'm gonna connect the yarn at the top of that double crochet. So I'm gonna pull a loop up, I'm gonna pick up that stitch with my hook, and then I'm going to pull a loop up with my new yarn, and then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm gonna pull that down really tight. Now I'm going to do a single crochet into that same stitch that we just put our chain 1 in. So there's my single crochet. And then in the next stitch of that set of 2, there's 1, there's 2, I'm gonna do another single crochet in there, just like that. And then I'm gonna chain 1 and turn the work. Now I've got a little short row with just 2 stitches in it, and I am going to do another row with single crochets. So 2 stitches, there's the first one, oops, and here's the second one. And then I'm gonna chain 1 and turn, and I will do a 3rd row of single crochets. It's a very short row, but it's still a row because we're doing a chain 1 and turn at the end of it. And we're gonna just do this repeat for a total of 8 rows. So 2 stitches in each row for a total of 8 rows. It's gonna be really quick because they are just very short rows, but I'll see you when I get to the end of that 8th row. And here's what it's looking after 8 rows. We've got a little over, maybe close to 2 inches worth of fabric. Yeah, there we go, a 2-inch long strap. And now what we're gonna do is chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10. And then I am going to reattach that chain at the other stitch. So this one came out of our first stitch. We're gonna reattach that chain at the second stitch, and I'm gonna attach it with a slip stitch. And then I'll chain 1 and I'm gonna turn the work. And now we've created a little buttonhole. And now with this buttonhole, I am going to single crochet into that chain 10 space 12 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 11, and 12. Now I've got 12 stitches in that 10 chain space, and now I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch again, and I'm just going to pull through a slip stitch to join that back around. And now I'm going to trim my yarn here, and I'm going to pull that tail through. And this is our little strap with our buttonhole. From here, I'm going to weave this tail in, and then we are going to attach a button on the other side. All right, now that we've got our strap and buttonhole done, I want to put a button on here. I've picked this one because I think it's cute and it goes with the theme of the glove. I have already threaded up my yarn needle here, and we are going to do a button right in the middle of our second sort of row here. So we've got our first row of woven, our second row. We're going to put the button right in the middle of that second row. And to do that, I am just going to start by inserting the yarn, or inserting the needle rather, and pulling the yarn through and just tying a knot so that it is coming from a secure place. I always like to have it be sort of cinched up beforehand. And then I'll just cut that tail. And now I'm going to just put this button on. These have huge holes. This button has huge holes, so it should be pretty easy for me to get this button on. And I'm just going to pick up stitches on either side and insert through those holes until this button is nicely secured in place. And guess what, friends? Just like that, these adorable little fingerless gloves are finished. What do you think? I think adding this button was such a good idea. I love the way that it adds just a little extra whimsy to an already pretty cute project. I love how the front post, back post double crochet creates that woven look with the stitches, and I think adding the front post, back post double crochet rib stitch around the cuff and around the top of the fingers created just a little extra detail. Even though I ran out of yarn here and had to switch to that gold, by creating the strap for the button in the same yarn, we create a more intentional look. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below if you're going to make these cute little project mittens for yourself or for somebody in your life. These would make a great stocking stuffer around the holidays, but also will be great moving into winter or even into spring when it's not quite cold enough for full mittens and you still want access to your fingers. Anyways, friends, I really hope you enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed making it, and I'm definitely going to get a ton of use out of these during the chilly months. Thank you so much to everyone who is supporting the channel. If you are a member supporting, you rock. Thank you so much. Here is the list of everyone supporting the channel this month. Thank you so much. If you would like to support the channel, show your support, check out the links in the description down below. Along with those links, you will find all of the relevant tutorials for this project: the double crochet, the front post, back post, double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. Everything you need will be linked down below. Like I said though, friends, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!